Alrighty. So I'm going to be doing another run of Lubu, parentheses, the strongest percent, which is just defeat Lubu at Hulao Gate. Also, still going to be skipping the prologue with a file that is starting immediately after you get control post-prologue, because prologue takes about 6 minutes and a big chunk of it you can't even skip. It is not the most marathon friendly, it is not the most showcase friendly, so we're just going to skip it. Also, there aren't too many people running this, and I get to make my own rules, so let's go with that. Alright, let's get started. Alrighty, so coming into the game, we have to do a little bit of walking. We are a nameless wanderer. No one knows what on earth is our past, our present, or our future. All we know is that we just wander battlefields until we find some kind of direction in our life. But what we are going to be doing is we are going to get drawn into a battle rather soon, or rather early, or at the very least get into some training very early, as you can see by the split names. We are going to be not necessarily recruited, but we met someone in particular during the prologue that we then reconnect with, and then get put to the test very early on for some training. It's just given us the rundown on how a lot of these systems work. Some of these were brought up in the prologue, but these are more for the specific 1v1 against an officer. There isn't too much randomness in this, well, in the game for the most part. There are like some key aspects where there are some random things that can make things a little bit quicker or slower depending on how the dice roll. Weirdly enough, this training section does have some kind of randomness to it, and it's purely based on whether or not Zhang Fei is going to attack, or how quickly he's going to attack, because right now, we've done all our offense, we've gone through some of the basics, now we have to block. Now, in order for us to block, we need him to attack. Thank you. Thank you. Do it for a third time. Thank you. That's very, very kind, very generous. And there's a parry, we just have to time the block. And we'll also have an evade. Alright, let's try and clear some space. So they go for the evade. Come on. Trying to create enough of the space so they actually want to do the move. And now we will have to do an interruption with one of our battle arts, or our special arts, like so. And now at this point, it is just a matter of getting their health down below half before the dialogue plays out. Well, there's a whole bunch of dialogue line between figures that are standing off in the corner that like to talk, and we have to, well, it is just a training section, so it's not too much of a worry, but they do like to talk. We would like to, well, let's do this. I should definitely get them low enough. We're not going to interact with them all that much. There we go. Ready to wait for that light to play out, then they'll do this little animation, do a big old chunk of damage to us. We have to get them active yet again, and now Guan Yu is going to talk. There we go. And that's going to end this training section. The time saved in this is mostly just based on whether or not Zhang Fei wanted to actually attack while I needed to block. Because the previous run, he didn't want to. He was very hesitant to attack me for some reason. First run back after a while, I was like, jeez. Alright, so coming into our first actual level, we are going to grab this waymark. It's just going to be a fast travel point for us to travel around all of China. But this is going to be our first level, and we're going to get into the more traditional style of Dynasty Warriors. That being, you have a stage, you have an objective, you have a means of losing the level, and it's about getting to that objective as quickly as possible. Now, with this first level, it's quite straightforward. At the very start, the gate to the enemy main base is currently closed, but we have a way of making sure that it's going to open up before we get anywhere close to it. We don't have to do anything special. All we have to do is avoid those enemies right there, come around this corner. There is going to be an officer over here, Gao Sheng. If we drop his health below half health, the enemy main gate will open up. There we go. They're pushing back. Yada yada yada. They're going to recognize that, oh, we're doing some damage to them. Time to actually send in extra forces by opening up this main gate for us. Thank you very much. We get to walk right on in and get to the enemy commander. Now, when it comes to fighting enemy commanders, you don't want to be attacking. Your first hit on an enemy commander should not be. It should not be a normal hit or a strong hit. You want it to be either using a battle art or a battle art, a Muso attack, a counter, or hitting them with your horse. In doing so, you get to avoid a few second animation where where your initial hit will recoil off them, because it's like, oh, this is the main commander, you have to be very careful of them. They are very important. Let's get this interrupt. Been a little bit scrappy, but fine. Able to get the KO, and we are done. Now, even though the level has been completed and like the HUD has gone away and all that, it is still important to keep on taking out enemies as they exist. Unfortunately, a lot of them have despawned, so we're not really going to be able to get too much out of it. But it is important to be taking out enemies in this little post-fight state, because it does, even in this state, you are still gaining experience, you're gaining proficiency for your weapons, like this. And the proficiency of your weapons ties into your overall character level. So however many levels you have in your weapons is your overall character level. So it is quite important to make sure that you are getting as much experience as you can in the limited times that you are going to have, because we don't really want to be going out of our way to be grinding in order to get levels. Alrighty. So, speaking of weapons, we are going to be getting our second weapon very, very quickly into this. Unfortunately, this next weapon that we're getting is one of my lesser enjoyed weapons. It is going to be the spear, but we are going to have to use it because, as I mentioned, with your overall levels being tied to the levels of your weapons, if you let one or two of them lag behind, you are kind of hampering yourself over the course of the run. So, the spear is going to be brought out. We are going to have to use it just a little bit, but we have ways to get as much as we can out of the limited time that we want to be using it. Okay, so we have a couple of skirmish missions. Usually these are the kinds of things that are going to pop up randomly throughout the map, that are like side missions, just like little detours to do a little bit of farming, a little bit of grinding to get some get some skills, get some money, get some resources. We usually don't want to have to do these, but these are mandated by the story for us to do them, so we shall be doing them. This one just requires us to take care of these 3 officers, or generals. I always use those interchangeably when I know I probably shouldn't. And again, do a little bit of farming, trying to make sure that we are keeping ourselves topped up on experience. Yeah, unfortunately they do end up despawning a decent amount, so. And another reason why it is important to be getting those KOs in those post-fight sections is because every time you get to 100 KOs, like another set of 100 KOs, you get skill points. And even in that post-fight state, when the HUD is all gone away, you still get the credit for the 100 KOs and you still get these skill points for it. So it is important to make sure that you are also getting skill points, which are going to be important in giving us some very, very strong skills later. Alright, we get the 100 KOs to spawn in this general. I cancel my move way too quick. I'm like, oh, we're fine. That is one thing about the combat system in this, is that it feels very nice in terms of like the flow, because of how very readily you can use the evade, this dodge. You can use it essentially whenever you want. When you're on the ground, if you're in like some kind of attack animation, you can cancel out of that whenever you want, and it can get a little bit awkward when you accidentally cancel out of your move at the worst time, but it is really nice using it to link a lot of attacks. So you can finish a combo, immediately cancel the end lag of it with the evade, and then just start another one. So you can maintain pressure, you can maintain a lot of your damage output quite well if you know how to, if you get used to like linking a lot of the attacks. And with how it interacts with some of the specific weapon quirks, because all of the weapons, like, they have their each unique traits and like the way in which they are utilized. They have their own movesets, and they all work very differently from each other, and it can be very, very fun, like having the different weapon types to try and find out what is going to be the best way to utilize this in these fights. We'll get to use most of the weapons throughout the 2-chapter run, or at least getting to Lupo. There's only like a couple weapons that we don't get over the course of the first 2 chapters. Alrighty, so now that we have opened up the map just a little bit more, we are grabbing a few extra waymarks, because they are going to be useful for us to travel around, especially considering we are going to be going through to chapter 2. Some of them aren't as important if you're only doing the first chapter category, because the game will essentially put you where you need to be. You're not needing to do much fast traveling. But in the chapter 2 and beyond, you are definitely going to be needing to use those fast travelers. Alright, coming to this next level, it's going to be a little bit more involved. We don't necessarily have to take care of this officer, but it is going to make it much easier and much more straightforward in order to open this gate that you can see flashing right in front of me. The way in which opening gates work, if you have allies around, you will see it flashing, and it allows you to, I guess, command your allies to open the gate with a tactic. There are these gates where you can actually open them up yourself, but with allies around, they'll take care of it for you. Get a little bit of farming done while we wait for some of this dialogue to play out. There is a bit of a blockade here, and there's going to be a bit of sorcery action here. But if we come into this little side section here, we're going to jump into this little bit of like a cutscene. If we were to just wait on the main road, what would happen is some of our allies, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, they'll have a few lines of dialogue about, oh, what's going on here? Why is the path blocked? Why are these specters around, like, that we can't hit them? What's going on? And then this would play. But because we already know where we need to be in order to progress the level, the game recognizes that, oh, you already know where you need to go. Alright, let's just jump ahead. We can skip those few extra lines of dialogue. Alright, so we'll go over to the side. Unfortunately, we can't skip through this. I still need to get around to checking out if any of the different languages are faster or slower for this specific bit of dialogue. It's not really as necessary for a lot of the rest of the run, but for this section in particular, it'd be nice to know. Right, so now that we've actually played all that out, we come up here, knock down the sensor, and that is going to open up the path. Also, coming out of that little bit of a cutscene that we skipped, getting down from that tower, it is better to do an evade and then a jump, rather than just like trying to jump immediately, for a couple of reasons. One reason is, by doing the evade first, you will be able to maintain a lot of that forward momentum when you press the jump button, and you'll get like a nice amount of speed going forward. Secondly, if you just press the jump button immediately, you are very likely to just interact with the ladder and just slowly trudge your way down. So it's a nice 2-for-1 in that regard. And we're going to have to be doing it just a couple more times as we have to dispel a little bit more sorcery by breaking some more of these sensors. Didn't get the momentum that I needed, but I did manage to avoid the ladder. Right, there's a nice path between them right here. Very nearly getting tagged at the backside by that. That one as well. It wasn't the cleanest of line, but managed to keep ourselves safe. Alright, so now that the wind has been taken care of, we do want to take care of this officer right here. It is possible to actually open up this next gate without having to deal with the sorcery, but I do want to take care of them primarily because of the following gate. What is going to happen is, let me just help clear some of the last of the stragglers. There is another gate for us to open in here. What I would like to happen is these guys, Cao Cao, Xiahou Dun, and Yuan, I want them to go in first and draw the aggro of the enemies that are inside, so that I can walk around. You can see that this gate is flashing, so I can order some allies to barge it down. And because I have not taken the aggro from those officers, they will not get interrupted. Well, it's much less likely for them to be interrupted. So now I'm able to make my way through to the main base and start wailing away on Zhang Bao, who is the main enemy. It can be a little bit scary, because there is a lot of arrows being flung around. A lot of damage coming in my direction, but it should be fine. Interrupt with the special art. Alright, do we have enough for the execute? No, we don't. So, by breaking the fortitude... Oh, that's close. By breaking the fortitude, you can do a follow-up assault. If the icon is blacked out, you would just have that follow-up flurry where you get to do like a lot of damage to a lot of enemies in an area, while just like slashing away and doing a whole bunch of damage. If the icon ends up going orange or yellow, whatever, however it looks to you, it means that you get to do essentially an execute, which can be very, very useful against some enemies that can be quite annoying. And some of them, it would be nice to finish off some enemies at various health breakpoints. And that's why I kind of delayed it as long as possible, the assault, because I was like, maybe I can drop that health down just below that threshold. Just not enough, but it's fine. We'll get to see it a little bit later. It is also kind of dependent on your attack, their defense, and like a whole bunch of factors like that. Alrighty, before we get into our next level, we are going to do a bit of a side mission. Just use this sword +5. We want to be doing the usually we don't want to be doing any additional content on the side. Because it takes a little bit longer. You don't want to be getting distracted from the main path unless it's absolutely necessary. And in this case, I find it to be absolutely necessary because for a couple of reasons. One of them is that the reward for doing this level is the Tiger Amulet, which is an item that you can equip that is going to boost your attack damage, which is going to be very handy as we are going to be kind of needing every little boost that we can. And also, right before we got into this mission, we spoke to one of the officers, Shang Yuan, and they gave us some missions to take care of. By completing those missions, the reward for them is a whole bunch of skill points. Now, as I mentioned, we're not going to be doing a lot of farming or grinding or additional content, so finding any opportunity we can to get skill points, get experience. Oh, thank God, that interrupt. Is very much appreciated. And the missions that we got from Yuan were to get 100 KOs with strong attacks, i.e. these ones, 100 KOs with battle arts, which are this, and then to interrupt an attack with using a special art, which I think we've done all three. Pretty sure we got all of them. I'm gonna be a little bit annoyed if we get through this and we are not. Oh, it was the strong attacks that I didn't get. Interesting. That's fine. That's fine. We can pick up the rest of those in this next level. The only thing that means, I don't think I'm missing out on by not getting all three of them in that one trading mission, or side mission, is just a little bit of an attack boost from one of those skill nodes. But it's fine. We'll be able to pick it up in this next one because it wasn't too many that was missing. And even though we're not going to be doing too much fighting in this level, it's enough to where we will get the rest of them. Alright, so this next level, we want to try and bust into a castle. We have two methods of attack. If you are to go with Sun Jian and Wu, you want to try and barge down the front gate using a ram. If you want to go with Liu Bei and Shu, they are going to try and get ladders onto the walls around the side. We are going to go with the ladders. They are a much easier way of getting through. Also, it just kind of plays nicely into how the flow of this works out. We are going to skip this officer. We're going to skip this next officer as well because our allies are going to be able to take care of them and they'll be able to catch up at a reasonable time. We do want to take care of this officer though. We don't want to be using any of our bravery. We want to be holding on to it so we can use it for these next two officers. Is that an upgrade? No. Right, so we just need to take this base and then also... Nice. So we take this base and get the ladders ready to go. And then take care of the two officers that are over here to clear the path for the ladders. Right, so we're going to grab you right here. And when I said before that the game kind of recognizes when you want to skip steps in terms of certain aspects of the level playing out, that also happens in this one. Come on, push that off. Because the way in which this level is intended to go is we get Liu Bei's forces into the castle. They go, let us go and help Sun Jian get into the castle. We go and do that, Sun Jian's forces enter the castle, and then Zhang Liang is going to be like, oh, okay, time to use some sorcery. Those specters, those ghostly soldiers that we saw in the previous level, they're going to be brought back, and we have to find 2 sensors to try and dispel those. We can cut out some of it in the way by starting the sorcery early, and the way in which we do that is that we just approach the first of the sensors. One of them is in this little section down here. Let's approach it, and then pretty sure it's Zhang Liang. We just have to get close to it, and that will start talking, and it will become interactable. It is not interactable until the strategy has been implemented. And now that we have started it, we've broken the first of the sensors, what we want to do is actually open the gate for Sun Jian, because it's better to just... Whoa, these goes to a little bit spooky. It's better to open the gate for him, and like while we're on this path already. Please do not interrupt me. Thank you. Instead of taking care of the 2 sensors and then trying to take care of the gate, because this second sensor is all the way hidden, all the way in this back corner. So if we were to try and take care of these soldiers before taking care of the gate, it would just be a bit of a connivance. Bust through the spears, even though they are pointed in the opposite direction, it is possible to just get clipped by them, and you just get knocked around and stalled. It can be a little bit annoying. Right, so now that both of the sensors have been taken care of, the entire... As you can see, there's no one around here anymore. Before, it was just flooded with enemies, and now that it's been taken care of, Sun Jian is going to make a beeline right up the center of the map to try and help in taking out this gate. As you can see, you do not have enough allies for this tactic, which is why we needed Sun Jian around to be able to do this. With this level, we can't actually rely on Liu Bei's force. Even though we use Liu Bei's forces to actually get in, we can't use them to actually open up this gate, because their coding is essentially, or their directive is to go, alright, we want to get Sun Jian in, so if we help them in their fight, all that's going to happen is we are just going to get to Sun Jian just that little bit faster and not really progress much else. Alright, so we should be able to get the break, and speaking of execute range, it should be there. Nice. Zhang Liang has a rather generous execute threshold. I guess something with his kind of defense stats or health stats or something about it that makes him a little bit easier to get that execute on. And as you could see, there was the training mission from Yuan that we were able to finish off throughout this. We don't do too much fighting in this level, but it was just enough to get those strong kills. Not necessarily the greatest, but gets the job done. Just that little bit less attack than what we would otherwise have can sometimes be the difference. Alright. So we've been utilizing just the 2 weapons so far, just the spear and the sword. Coming into this next one, we are going to fight a particular officer because they are going to have a guaranteed drop of our next weapon. And that's one thing that's kind of nice about this run, is that even though for the most part weapon drops are somewhat random, the kinds of weapons that you get and when you get them, it's just whenever you defeat an officer, you have a chance of a weapon dropping of the weapons that you have already unlocked. The only exceptions to that is the more guaranteed weapon drops. So the first time you would get a particular weapon. So what we're going to be getting here, we're going to be getting the gauntlets in this level. And it's going to be a guaranteed drop from a particular enemy. It's going to be Zosang. Zosang? My pronunciation of the Chinese names is very Australian. And let's apologize right from the get-go. But I'm doing my best. So yeah, Zosang is going to have the gauntlets. And as we go throughout, it's going to be chapter 2, we're going to be getting more of the weapons. There are a very particular set of enemies that we want to defeat in order to unlock the next weapon that we want. Because as I mentioned a little bit earlier, our overall character level is tied to the level of our weapons. So making sure that we have as many of the weapons as we can to be getting as many levels as we can is very important to making sure that we are just going to be strong enough. Alright. This guy, Zosang, is going to have the gauntlets, and as you can see, he's a little bit more of a unique looking character. Because he does tend to show up a little bit later on if you are running a particular faction. Not what I've been dealing with. We also want to be using this fight to also try and take care of the training missions that we got from Guy, which I spoke to just before coming to this area. Alright, we're going to wait a little bit. We're going to wait for the gauntlets to be drawn to us. We want to not be in any kind of particular animation while we're trying to equip a weapon, because sometimes if you are in like while you're getting on the horse or some particular animations, the game will say you cannot change weapon at this time. So wait until we get that, and now we can go to the main boss of this level, Zhang Jiao. And the gauntlets work on a stance system, which is very, very different from a lot of the other... I don't have the bravery for this. It's not too great. Get very, very dicey here very quickly, just based on... You know, there's a lot going on. I'm trying my best. Alright. That is actually a very, very nice timing on that. We just need to do enough damage at the right time to essentially end the level, completely tank the morale of everyone around here, and allow us to just really clear through them. And one thing that is kind of interesting with this game is that the health of your allies and even the enemies is directly tied to the morale. So if they are in high spirits, they will have a lot of health and it will be very tough to defeat. If they are very low morale, they are paper thin and they fall over very quickly. Don't have. There's a proficiency. We kind of blasted through that much quicker than I was expecting. It didn't end up getting the proficiency as quickly as I was expecting. So yeah, now that we've gotten the actual weapon, it's very easy to get extra levels. So we can get these extra skill points, or skill books, skill nodes. We are one off getting the extra attack, but that's fine. We'll be able to get it in time for the Zhang Jiao fight. It would be nice to have it for this, but we'll be fine. Alright, where we're going. We're being called into the forest, into the mountains. It is going to be a conversation with Zhang Jiao, because if you played through the prologue, you do interact with Zhang Jiao quite a bit. You don't know his name at the time. He's just a long-haired man. That's about it. So yeah, there is like a little bit of a rapport with them, and honestly, I've been playing Dynasty Warriors games since I was in primary school. Yes, it was like year 5, year 6, very early on. Zhang Jiao has always been one of those figures in the games that has been like, they've always made him very goofy in a lot of the games, but in this one they actually made him incredibly sympathetic. And I really, really like Zhang Jiao in this game. And it does get a little bit unfortunate, like, just seeing how everything all ended up for him. It's like, oh man, you didn't want this. But unfortunately, we have to do what we have to do. Alright, so the way this level is going to play out, we have a single gate that we need to open up. We can do it on our own, fortunately. And as soon as we get through that one gate, we have a clear path into, like, directly into the main base. Enemy's main camp. Just getting through here. And as you can see, now that we have this extra upgrade on for our horse with the cheering up mechanic, we can have these extra boosts at our disposal. But it does mean that I never get a moment of downtime in this. Even when I'm on the horse, even when I'm going from point A to point B with nothing in between it, I'm still having to do something. I'm still having to cheer up this horse so I can have these boosts up as much as possible. Also, it is important to be kind of timing when and where you use your boost, because especially when enemies are around, because if you are not boosting when you are interacting with enemy soldiers while you're on a horse, you can just get like body blocked by them. But if you are dashing through them, you dash through them. They just get trampled, and you don't have to suffer any kind of body blocking or nuisance. Alright, coming into the main base. Zhang Jiao is going to be here, but we are going to be ignoring him for this fight. We are going to be taking on Zhang Bao. Alright. What we want to be doing... Damn, I wouldn't like that. To be a knock up. Oh, thank you for the fill up. There we go, that's what we wanted. Alright. We want to do as much damage as we can right now. Ah. Whoa! Somehow we managed to... That one. I'm so sorry that looked horrendous. But they did get us out of a little bit of an animation where we were kind of just having to just watch them go away. Whoa. Where's the land? Maybe get out of here. But now that I've destroyed the sensor, they are all back here. And the damage that we did to them previously, it all remains. We just need to do a little bit more damage, and that's the level taken care of. It is a very straightforward level once you boil it down to that, really. It is possible to get Zhang Bao down to a very, very small amount of health before they fade away with his ability. But that's actually not... the way that we're played out, it's actually not too bad. Alright. And honestly, considering we didn't even have the extra attack boost from the skill tree, that's actually not too bad. And now that that level has been taken care of, we have to deal with Zhang Jiao once and for all. And it's going to be a big old arena fight. Mono and mono. I'm going to visit our horse for a little bit. So, the way we want to be doing this, we would like to... my parry timing on that is terrible. Can get parries on those. Ideally, the way this is going to go is I am going to be able to break their fortitude a few times. Ugh. What I want. Before we get to the second phase where things are really going to get out of hand. Alright, there it is. Crack that immediately. There we go. As long as the move isn't glowing, like the orange or the red, like so, you can parry them. Oh my god. There's some of these attacks that I'm just really bad at parrying, like these. You cannot parry, you just need to interrupt. Thankfully, there's a rather generous parry window there. Yeah, this is all on the Historian difficulty, which is the easiest, so fortunately you are given quite a few nice concessions, so like a much more generous parry window. Alright. And also the ability to actually block certain things that you otherwise cannot block in higher difficulties. So a lot of those glowing moves you cannot block in higher difficulties, you have to evade them. But in this difficulty you can. Also, this was probably not how I wanted this to go. Spent it a little bit too quickly. Now coming into the second phase, there's going to be a additional tactic that they're going to deploy, which is Thunderous Tempest, which can be very annoying because what it does, it will make Zhang Jiao immune. Let me just... It's going to be here, there it is. So he's going to become immune, and the only way to dispel this tactic is to take out 300 enemies. There are ways to get around this, but it is... it requires a lot of, forward planning with through the, through the first phase. When it comes to, timing... that's a lot of damage that I'm taking. When it comes to the War God Rage mode that you activate, and just setting up their health, or setting up their fortitude after you've finished that. That's not really doing. Can we clip him at the end of here? Oh, that's a waste of meter. That's fine-ish. Get back here. Get him into the air. This might get the KO. Oh my god. Let me just do this. Nice. It would have been very easy for them to go into another Tempest phase and then force me to take out another 300 enemies. But fortunately, I was able to get the interrupt in there in time. Using Musou attacks is a good way to get the damage down without, kind of stalling the timer. It prevents extra dialogue boxes from coming up, and like after, like in between certain dialogue boxes is when they would like to set up that Tempest phase. But fortunately, we're only having to deal with one of them. And the split that I'm comparing to ended up having 2 of those Tempest phases, and you can see the difference in the time. See? That is what happens when you skip one of the Tempest phases. It is incredibly noticeable. Alrighty. So that is going to be chapter 1 taken care of. After you have a bit of a heartfelt goodbye to Zhang Jiao as he kind of perishes in this village. It's kind of sad. It definitely made me feel for the character. Or at least the way that they're characterizing this. Which I never had any kind of... I wouldn't never necessarily say didn't feel any emotion towards the character ever, but it is much more heartfelt. It is much more... it's tragic. It's a much more tragic feel to the character. But that's the end of them, and as we move on to chapter 2. And it gets a little bit more involved, as we are going to be getting the letter from Liu Bei. We are going to open this letter with the gratitude, because it gives us 500 gold, which is going to help us out early on in this level. Or in this chapter. Because we are going to be doing a little bit of shopping throughout this. Alrighty, this level is actually one of my favorites when it comes to like the routing of it, just because I've been able to find ways to kind of get it to work how I want it. The game does kind of show us that we have companions now. Unfortunately, we are not going to be utilizing those because it would actually mess it up just a little bit for us. Alright, so first of all, we are going to take out this enemy, this officer here, and it is for a particular reason. Take you out. Trust me, there is a reason to be taking out the officers that I am in a particular sequence. Because if I take out that one, I take out this one. Bit of a delay. I do a little bit of damage here. So by taking out those 2 officers and then taking out this one here, it is going to drop the wheels, which is going to be the next weapon that we are going to be using. I think, if I recall correctly, when I was trying to figure out how to best route this level, if I didn't take out those particular officers, the wheels would drop on a different enemy, which got a little bit weird. And I was like, I just like how it all lines up with this. And the reason why we didn't want to have Guan Yu with us as our companion, because if he was to approach the summit with us at the same time, what would happen is, this gate would be open ahead of time. The officer that is trying to retreat into this base would get in here a little bit too early, and it will close behind them, and we would not be able to have access to this officer right here. This is one of the main commanders that we have to be dealing with. We can't, like, even if we had allies around, we would not be able to open up that gate. It is just like hard-coded that we cannot open it. But if we can find the little bit of a timing window where the enemy is trying to retreat into that base, and we are... Wait. Oh, perfect timing to me. I was trying to time it so that I would be able to open the gate during that cutscene, but the game is not letting me out of here. And it's making things much more annoying. Let me open this gate, please. Now, unfortunately, because we were delayed in actually getting out of that base, the other commander that appeared once we had taken out the first one has been able to travel much further than what I'd like. Usually I'd be able to pick him up around here-ish, but as you can see on the map, oh god, they have been booking it, bloody hell. Travel so much further. They're going after our commander. Come on, man. Alright, this has gotten much more annoying than it had to be. My parry timing is not on. It's a little unfortunate, but that's fine. That'll get rid of that. Those are the two officers taken care of. And it would have been nice if I could have gotten out of that base a little bit cleaner, but sometimes that's just how it is. You get interrupted at the wrong time, or they just get the hit in at just that one little opportunity, and all of a sudden you're then just scrambling to try and recoup the losses. But usually that level can be much more annoying. But yeah, being able to have access to that first commander when we do is really nice, because otherwise if you don't manage to get into that base at that little timing window, you then have to wait for them to charge all the way through the south of the map, which, as you might be able to tell, is not the most ideal. If you're having to do laps around the whole level, it's not what you want to be doing. We did lose a little bit of time because of that, but again, it's still fine. As long as we don't fail a level, it's all good. Very rarely are there going to be any opportunity, are there really at risk of just failing a mission. I say rarely and not never, but rarely is that going to be the case. Alright, so before we get into our next level, we are going to be doing a little bit of shopping, but before all of that, we have to go find our doctor. And what do I mean by that? That's a long story. All you need to know is that they are our doctor. And in getting our doctor, on the way back, use the waymark, we are going to grab the rewards from this little area. There's going to be a better horse and some resources, which we're going to be able to utilize a little bit later. Alright, doing a little bit of shopping, but with the money that we've gotten, we're going to get a better spear to use. I know I've mentioned that the spear is probably my least favorite to use, but we did get a bunch of training missions from Guan Yu. And we also had the one extra from Huang Gai from the previous chapter that do require us to use the spear. So we're going to be doing those in our next level, which is going to be thanks to one of those letters that we just read. The third letter we read was from Zhang Fei, and it allows us to do gem crafting. And gems are just going to be little items that give benefits, little extra benefits. The one that we're going to be using is just going to be attack range. There are some others that give you additional damage from parries, additional damage on enemies that are airborne, and then there's a bunch of durability based ones which we don't really want. The damage ones are okay, but it does require you to be hitting at a rather particular playstyle, which it's fine. It's just not what I'm looking for, especially with this level where I want to be able to hit as many things as possible, because the training missions that we got require us to get a certain amount of kills with the battle arts, with the strong string, like the flurry attack, and also with a charged strong attack. And they can be a little bit annoying to use, especially the battle art. It's not the greatest. It is definitely one of the biggest downsides of this weapon early on, is that its battle arts are rather lacking, especially when one of them is a counter that doesn't really do too much damage. It's very good for utility, but unfortunately its damage is very much lacking. Like, we do that, it doesn't even get the KOs. Right. So we are going to be trying to get all of those missions taken care of during this one level, but also we are going to be taking out a particular set of bases in this level, because by taking out this base and the one in the very center of the map, what that is going to do is get the enemy main base to open up of their own volition. So we don't have to do anything more than that. But in the meantime, I am going to try and get some extra KOs along the way, while the enemies are demoralized after having their base taken. So yeah, we take that base, we take this base, and then we can run straight to the enemy main camp. Bang, bang, boom. It would have been nice if we had a little bit of extra time to actually get... where do we go with spear? Kind of like in the very middling. It's not looking too great. Because I would like to be able to get all of the training done before the end of this level. Like, I don't want to have to use a little bit of the next level to get the last of it done, but it's something that I can do if need be. Alright, that's two of them. Alright. Right. When I said before, one of the things you don't want to be doing is hitting... Oh my god, not that! Is hitting a commander with a regular attack. You want to be using either battle arts, Muso, parry, or hitting with your horse with the charge. Because that's what we did right there. It's just a nice little interrupt that that doesn't activate that. Alright, how are we looking? Nice, we got the execute. And I think we got all of them done. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now, unfortunately, yeah, because we had the True Muso going, it kind of delays the extra dialogue, well, to finish out the level, but all good. Able to get everything done, I'm pretty sure. I hope. I don't want to be dealing with the spear. Spear, spear, spear. Perfect. Now, we don't need to be worrying too much about skills at this point. We're just going to be holding on to them and just like banging them for like the next page that we get, which is going to be a little bit later. For the time being, what we're going to be doing is going back to the wheels and moving on to the southernmost part of the map. Now that we've helped out Dongshuo, we're going to be going down here to help out Hongai. Well, at least those are the two that sent us the letters, so we're helping out them. This next level is much more straightforward, but it does have a nice little quirk that we can use to speed up. We are going to be utilizing the companions, but mostly as a means to, just because of the different starting locations. So a bunch of the companions that you can pair up with, they allow you to start at different spots on the map. We would like to be starting with Barangay because it's right in the middle of our main base. And also, we want to be, as we are exiting this main base, there's going to be an ambush that usually there would be an animation alerting you to the ambush, but by using a horse dash at that particular timing and spacing, you get to ignore it completely. You get to dodge it. And the rest of this level is very, very straightforward. They have an open main camp. We have a horse. We are going to run right up to him and smack him around. It makes it very, very easy. It's nice every now and then to have a level like this where it's very, very streamlined. You're not having to worry too much about all the different systems going on, or having to try and get all these different armies to cooperate. It's like, nah, sometimes you get to run right in. Yeah. Alright, let's break that. We have the attack pill, the strength pill running, so we can do a little bit more damage. Try and chase him down with the battle arts. The wheels starts out with very, very good battle arts, both of them, and both of them are really good in their own ways. This one right here is very good for just its sheer damage and AoE. The other one, this one, is really good because you can follow it up with your enhanced strong attacks. And for the longer categories, I use that quite a bit, especially for the Wu route. Because they do like to use the wheels, and I'm more than happy to use them as well. Alright, we are going to hold on to all of these. The wheels we will be using for this next level, and then it's other weapons for the rest of it. Before we move on to the next section, we do want to be talking to a few officers right here. Sun Shengjiang. They're going to give us some trainings. They're going to have a little bit of a conversation with Gan Ning. And then afterwards, they are also going to give us some trainings. It may seem like a little bit of overkill to be getting all of these training missions. But if I am able to get all of the training missions over the course of this done in the time that I want to, I'll be able to access certain attack boosts down the line in some of them, which is going to be very handy for trying to fight Lu Bu. That is for sure. That guy has a lot of health, takes a lot of hits, so having every little bit of extra damage is going to help out in the long run. Alright, coming into the retreat, gonna hand in the 5 coins so we can get some extra money, because again, we are going to be buying stuff. Not just yet, we are going to have to just skip these cutscenes, read the letter to activate the next level. I mentioned a little bit before that usually you're not really at risk of failing a mission, like having a commander like fall or something like that. This is one of those where it can sometimes be a little bit iffy. Rarely is it the case, but if things go really wrong, it has happened. Alright, so suppression of the White Wave. This is another one of those kind of maps where it looks like there's a lot going on and it's a little bit more convoluted than what it actually is. There are 3 main commanders that we need to be taking care of. If you look at the minimap, they're at the top of it. Those 3 like helmets. And it looks like there's a lot of just barricades just in our way, just not letting us get there. A lot of gates, a lot of closed doors, making it really tough for us to get to. Fortunately though, we do already have a direct path right into their main base. Because what is going to happen is we are going to take this nice convenient track right around the back, and this is going to lead us directly into the fort, this little base that they've been set up in. Alright, but before we actually do fight this person and like activate them, what we're going to do is try and open this gate as quick before everything just pops off. We saw a little bit earlier, things can get a little bit out of hand if you don't get the gate open cleanly enough, but fortunately we're able to open it before we got interrupted, because we're able to kind of get in before they aggro to you like fully. Like they take a little bit to actually get to you, usually. Right, now this guy is too much of an issue. Not at execute range. Kind of fair bit of it, so I don't know why I'm surprised. Gonna parry. I'd like to hold some of the bravery before we get to the next part of the level. Right. Now that we've taken care of you, we take this opened gate. And we head into the next half of the level, which is this major force. There are 2 commanders to take care of, but the one we want to focus down first is going to be, what's his name, Han Xian. Li Wei is just a secondary. We want to take care of Han Xian because this person is the leader of this large force, and by taking care of the leader of the large force, it is going to demoralize all of the enemies here. And as I mentioned earlier, the health bar is directly tied to the morale. So by tanking the morale of so many of these officers is going to make it so much easier for us to take care of them. Also, we're just doing a lot of damage, and they are having a real tough go of it. This should KO them. Yeah, gets rid of... Oh! They just got caught in the crossfire. And that is actually incredibly good, because if you take a little bit too long in between taking out the first and the second, you will pick up the weapon, and you'll have that little bit of a cutscene where it just kind of shows you a bit of a preview of what this weapon is going to be doing. So by picking up the weapon in this post-level state, you do get the weapon, but you also avoid that extra cutscene, which is really nice. And the next weapon is going to be pulled out. It's a big sword. And we did all of these training missions at the same time, which is another reason why it's really nice to be using the wheels in this level, because there's a lot of enemies that you can just clear through and get through those pretty nicely. I've been pretty happy with how I've been able to route a lot of the weapons for these first 2 chapters, and how like yes, there's a lot of randomness with weapon drops in terms of like when and where you get like get the additional weapons of a particular type, but because I'm able to ensure when I get a weapon for the first time, I'm able to at least have a much tighter routing of when and where I use particular weapons to for particular reasons, to do particular trainings at particular times. Beyond chapter 2, when you get into the part of the game where you start picking your story path and going in your particular directions, things get a little bit more fluid. You have to be a little bit more adaptable to what's going on with the weapons that are showing up. But yeah, coming into this next level, this is going to be an escort mission, and we are using the Podao. And this is another one of the weapons that is really good for speedrunning because of that particular battle art, the Sea of Flames. Let me actually get another one ready. It is very good. As you can see, it just rips through enemies. Nice. Did I get through all of them? It most definitely did. That is incredibly nice and clean for those opening enemies. And hopefully we can have a similar outcome with this next section. Coming into this... Well, we can jump ahead and just kind of start things before they're intended to. Coming into this area, there is going to be 3 assassins that are going to be waiting for us. What we are going to do is activate all 3 of them. And try and drag them all the way over into here where this 3rd one is. Alright, wanted to parry that, never mind. You fighting the other one. Sounds like Diachan's fighting the other one. I would like that to not be the case. Diachan, move on. Move on. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I would like... The reason why I wanted to try and draw them into the corner is so that the people that I'm trying to escort move on from this little area. They go to like a rest stop. Can I drag them away a little bit more? No, you are ready to fight. And the reason why I want them to move on is because they have like a rest stop that they get to. And by them coming all the way out here is going to delay that just a little bit longer. Which is going to be a little bit annoying, but we should be fine. Like, in terms of like how the level progresses, it's going to be kind of whatever, but it's just one of those little bit of a nuisances that we just have to deal with. But we are going to jump on ahead and take care of these enemies. Because there's always more assassins in the way. Don't have the proficiency upgrade yet. There it is. Now that we've got an extra proficiency upgrade, the charged attacks are much more valuable with the Podao because we can actually evade while charging up the attack. And in doing so, it also charges it up to like an extra power level, which makes it so much more usable in general gameplay. Because before, you have to wait quite a while for a lot of the charged hits to really make much of an impact, or be charging up to a usable level, but by charging into things and immediately getting the level up, you can see it does a lot of damage, and you're also really not wasting too much time in doing so. Alrighty, so now that they have been taken care of, there are no more assassins left, thankfully. We just need to wait for Wang Yun and Diachan to make their way to this area right here, where we are right now. And then what's going to happen is they're going to talk a little bit. They're going to be drawn over to this fort over here by a soldier, and then it's going to be an ambush. We're going to deal with that by dumping all of our resources into them. So a fun little quirk of using the War God Rage mode is that it will refill all of your bravery. So I can spend all my bravery on a couple of Sea of Flames. They cost 3 a pop, so you get to use 2 of them. You pop the War God Rage mode, you refill all of your bravery, so you can do some more. For another little fun side effect of the War God Rage mode is that while you're in that state, you can use Battle Arts for free. What it does is, instead of costing bravery, it just takes the cost out of the timer of the rage mode. So I can do the two Sea of Flames, pop the rage mode, do a few more Sea of Flames, bust out the true rage Muso, get out of that state, and then do another couple more Sea of Flames. Hopefully it all goes according to plan and they all stay in the Sea of Flames. So we get 1, we get 2, and while they are burning, we're gonna pop the rage. Let's pop this, pop this, pop this, pop this. And while all this is happening, oh, they did not get caught in that as well as I would have wanted. Just gonna get him. All 3 of them just in one fell swoop. Lovely. It was looking a little bit weird there, but looked like they weren't taking as much from the initial hit. Well, they weren't all in as cleanly as I would have wanted from those initial Sea of Flames, but able to clean them all up very, very nicely out at the end there. And yeah, it is very, very nice when it all just pans out and you just blast through them. Alrighty. We are saving our skill points for the next page. We just need 1 more level up, which should be in this one. As we make our way to the capital. Trying to remember what else is there to really mention. Alrighty, so we are going to be getting a few more training missions because we can do those with the Podao in this next level. Thank you, Sharudun. Let's do a little bit of shopping, the last little bit of shopping that we need to do to cover us for the rest of this run. Alright, when it comes to like the routing of a lot of the levels in this game, a lot of them I'm pretty happy with. This one is one of those levels where it's still a little bit up in the air with how I feel about how it's going. It's like, it seems fine, but just every time I play it, it feels like there should be something better. Because the way this level plays out is you have to chase down and eliminate the 10 attendants. That was the first one. There's going to be a lot just scattered all throughout the castle grounds. But coming into the main part here, we can ignore the enemy in front of the throne room. All we need to do is just take down the gate, and once we step into the throne room, they are going to essentially deactivate. So if you look at the mini-map in the bottom right, you can see the little bit of a patch of red just disappear. And now that they are gone, we can move on down here, cheer up our horse in preparation for the next part of the level. Alright. There is a lot more to this level than what you currently see on the map. Carry you. I didn't have enough bravery for the battle art, but there we go. I wanted to take care of that first officer, even though they like really they weren't like all that important, and they not really doing too much. They're like our allies could have taken care of them very easily. I want to try and make sure that Cao Cao is going to be able to get to the other side of the map as quickly as possible, so they can take care of one of the attendants while we're taking care of every single other one of them. Right, we don't need to take care of him now. Oh my god. Ugh, I'm trying to navigate a horse through a castle. Alright, interrupt him with the dash. Alright, get rid of you. Okay, now we move on. We just need to take care of the attendants. For quite a while, when it came to the routing of this, one thing I was doing was just going straight through the middle, ignoring this super passage, and just catching this this attendant as they tried to retreat down to the south. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. I should have just actually timed both of them, but they seem to get the job done just fine, because it's not just the timing of when and where I get them, but it's also timing a lot of the dialogue boxes so that particular enemies can be active, and also whether or not it's like 5-10 seconds different between going down the center and picking them up versus going this path. I'm still having to wait for Cao Cao at the end to take care of that attendant all around the other side, so I'm still having to wait regardless, so it's like it feels like kind of whatever. Alright, so I just waited a little bit there to actually hit them, because you could see at the very start, like when I got to him, his health bar was like fairly considerable. However, once the morale completely tanked, their health bar dropped to a very small fraction of what it was. Alrighty, so we just need to take care of one more of them. And then, meanwhile, let's have a look. About 2/3 of the way, we should be fine. Maybe a little bit of a wait, but it's not too bad. I'm going to use the rage here just so we can farm for the training mission. Oh, you are over the top. God damn it. That whiff you. Just get a double on that. Should be able to burn him down. Not as much as I would have liked, but still good enough damage. Let me just... trying to throw some knives at me, and it's like, I'm just gonna keep on charging. I'm fine. Yeah, really close. There we go, Cao Cao takes care of the last one. It's level completed. Alright, so coming into this next level is where we do actually encounter Lu Bu in this next level, but the reason why I have the strongest in the name of the category is because even though, yes, we can encounter and fight Lu Bu in this next level, it just doesn't feel right to not fight him at Hulao Gate. And also, The reason why I just put it as the strongest is because that is literally the name of the trophy / achievement, and that is to defeat Lu Bu at Hulao Gate. Not defeat him elsewhere, defeat him at Hulao Gate. Because it could be that I just fight him like right away here at the retreat from the capital, but that's just not as fun. We want to fight him at Hulao Gate. That's just... it's very symbolic. So that's why I have to have... well, I feel like I have to have the strongest in there, because you could just be like, oh, you just fight him in the escape, and you just save like 20 minutes. Well, like, maybe 15. 10, 15 minutes. Also, I did screw up my splits the last time. It looks like it was just a a 20-second fight with Lu Bu. It's like, no, that's not how that went. I just screwed up some of my splits. I had to try and fix them, but I'm sure I'll be fine after I do this. Alright, so we are going to be getting 2 new weapons in this level. We are going to be using one of them for the rest of this level. And then we are going to be using the other for the rest of the chapter. Alright, so with this level, it is an escape sequence, and it is also an escort mission, essentially. And because of that, we do have to... oh my god. We do have to take care of pretty much every officer in the way, for the most part. Just because if we don't, Cao Cao will get bogged down trying to fight them all, and then have Lu Bu catch up to them and tear them a new one. We don't want that. That would be very, very bad for us. So take care. Oh, I tried to get on the horse and then... that's fine. It's fine. A little bit annoying, but it's whatever. Alright, so this right here... usually, the game intends for you to not fight them head on. It intends for you to take a detour through that secret passage that we did in the previous level. However, we want to make our way through the middle for a bunch of reasons. Get a little bit dicey. Just trying to gather them all together can be a little bit annoying. Didn't have enough for the Sea of Flames. Get over here, you fuck. Sorry. Okay, that's one of the weapons. It's going to be the staff. We're not going to be using that currently. We're going to be using that for Shishui Gate and fight against Lu Bu. But the next one... if we can take care of you... there we go. It's going to be the Twin Pikes. We will be using these right now, because they are nice to use for the rest of this. I prefer using Twin Pikes to deal with the Great Shields than the Staff. They can be very annoying. Alright, so Twin Pikes equipped. And what do I mean by Great Shields? These things. They are very annoying to deal with, because they are, like, they're very tall walls. Weirdly tall walls that you can't just, like, launch yourself over the top of. Right, so in here, there's more, more great shields. Fortunately, what we can do is we can come over here, jump over the top, get behind that wave, and then just use a Muso attack to just blast through the next two. And as long as we can take it is going to open up the escape path, and Cao Cao will then make a beeline to the exit. Nice. So yeah, the Twin Pikes is all about, when it comes to the strong attacks, rapid hits, rapid presses to get extra hits. When it comes to the staff, it's all about held. Like, you hold the button and you get additional hits. A lot of additional hits. Which is an interesting thing that you get, like, both of those very close together. You get the rapid hit and the held hit. Rapidly pressing to extend the hits and holding it to extend the hits. Just like get them so close together. Alrighty. Yeah, a bunch of level ups. I don't remember how many more I have left to actually go. Whatever. I think I might be able to get enough from this next level for the little extra attack boost coming into Lubu. Alrighty. So there's 2 more levels left, and thankfully these ones are much more straightforward in how the levels function. We're not having to deal with everything that was going on in the capital. They were annoying. They're interesting, that's for sure. There's still maybe a little bit of optimization that can do with the 10 attendance level, but there's a lot going on in the capital. Fortunately, we don't have to deal with that with the next 2 levels. It's literally, you already have a clear path directly into the enemy main camp. You make a beeline. That it makes it very, very easy. You don't have to think about it. Right, so we do a little bit of talking. We are going to be getting our own set of guards. Now, early on in the run, I was talking about how you need to have allies nearby if you want to be able to utilize them for tactics, to open gates, and do stuff like that. Our guards essentially act as those allies, and they'll also follow us. So we can go solo mode and just find a nice, convenient place to get my guards to bust down a door. That can happen, and it does happen in the more extended categories. For this category, not really, because these 2 levels are very, very straightforward. There's a lot of red on the screen, but fortunately, there's a very nice, open, clear path to the north that will lead us right to the enemy main base. Now, there are 2 enemy commanders that we have to take care of, Huaxiong and Li Jue, I believe in the names. We want to take care of Li Jue first, because once we are done with that, we want to accept the duel that Huaxiong is going to throw down, because during duels it is much easier to actually take out the enemies. It's less about damage numbers, defense numbers. It's you bring their bar to their side. It's like a tug of war. in terms of like damage. It's like you have to hit them enough to bring the bar to the right side of the screen before they hit you enough to bring that very same bar to the left side of the screen. It's much better dealing with that than having to deal with damage values and defense stats and yada yada yada. But until we get to that, I am just going to be using the staff that we picked up and this barrage move that we have with it as one of the base battle arts. It is very good. As you can see, it does a lot of damage and is also good at doing damage to a lot of things all at once. The range on it can be a little bit suspect at times, but it's fine for the most part. Right, I would like to hold him to some bravery heading into the Huashong fight. And the reason why I want to hold this fight pretty close to the wall, right here, because I don't want the duel to be activated ahead of time. Alright, I'll just do that battle art just to get the training done, just to ensure that I will have the extra attack boost for Lu Bu. Alright, start the duel. And hearing this sound for the very first time when I played the game, I was like, oh my god. Just brought back so many memories. Yeah, bring the bar to the up. Oh! There we go. Took a little bit of hit ourselves, but it's fine. And that just instantly ends the level because we had already taken care of Li Jue. We just needed to take care of Huashong. Just take care of those two, you've beaten the level. It makes it so very easy. And we do a little bit of farming. It's probably past the point where we kind of need it, especially for this category, but it is just very fun to just blast your way through. Very funny. Alright. Alright, we at least got to the level where we got, what's it called? Extra bravery point. Those are really nice to have. We got the extra attack upgrade. Always happy to see. Yeah, these splits are kind of cooked. Need to sort them out. What do you mean that? Nah, I'll sort them out. It'll probably take about... It will take a few minutes to deal with Lu Bu, so that's probably on track. Alright, starting with Huashong... Oh, not Huashong. I just beat him. Started with Huang Gai, because his starting location is a little bit better for us. As we get our force all cheered up and ready to go. This is where we are going to be fighting Lu Bu. There is a nice little no man's land between their two main forces that we'll try and drag them into, because we don't want to fight Lu Bu while there's also an entire force just wailing away at us. So right here is the preliminary force. And then this is the no man's land that I'm going to try and drag him into. There he is. Alright, he's going to be... he's going to be on red hair for quite a bit of this. We have to do enough damage to him to actually knock him off red hair, which... Ooh. We are going to lose a lot of our guards. Well, they're actually all gone already. Also, it's very nice to be able to actually get them trapped into this corner, especially for when they were to try and start charging around. Ah, that wasn't actually on track. While they're on the horse, they're not like the most threatening, and especially because this is Historian difficulty, you are able to block a lot of the attacks that you would otherwise have to dodge. Like when they glow red, when they glow orange, those attacks have to be like that right there. That has to be, whoa. Has to be evaded, and the timing is pretty strict at the higher difficulties. Do that. One guy, you actually going to help, or are you just going to stand there like a lemon? Looks like he's just going to stand there. Alright, we're looking pretty good. Hey, they didn't parry that. Pretty good. Ignore this, this is just an event for the stage. Whoa. The interruption? Oh god, okay, time. They just kind of exploded at the end there. Nice. We'll take that. And that's the Lubu percent. It's like, yes, I could go through, take out Dog's Row and complete the level in the chapter, but I find it fun to be like, nah, Lubu is where we end it.